It's the Sleepers Podcast off-season edition. We just wrapped up the Sleepies. Hope everybody enjoyed that episode. And we're coming right back into special guest interview style with an active player, the first ever active player on the Sleepers Podcast. And take a guess, folks. Is it Brad Davison? Yes, it is.
Man. And I'm not just saying this because Brad came on the pod. Like, for all the people who got preconceived notions of who Brad Davis is, Brad Davison is a great dude. Like, this is a really fun interview. Like, I think we love Brad Davison.
I'll say it. I love Brad Davison. And
Brad Davison is dope.
Listen, we recorded this. We just wrapped this 5 minutes ago. This was not like, we didn't know how this was going to go. You know that we're Michigan State fans. We've talked all that we've talked about Wisconsin all season long. And we don't necessarily shy away from that in this episode. We talk about it. We go through it with him. I almost feel like this was a little bit of a therapy session for us, Cart, because all of whatever our problems were with Wisconsin, whatever the rocky marriage was between the Sleepers and Wisconsin, in my mind, might be fixed now. Like, Brad Davison is that good of a guy.
Yeah. I mean, we're not gonna make a habit of this. I mean, y'all can't expect Andre Drummond to be on this podcast anytime soon, but yeah, like, this is a great episode. Like, we talked, Wisconsin hoops. We talked, the play in the Big Ten. I mean, we really touched on everything. And, we stay, hey, just so y'all know, we stated where we stand. All right. I was a Spartan dog through and through on this pod. And, G did whatever he did over in Ann Arbor with his team too. But we stayed strong, but it's still great stuff.
Hey, right. As a new employee of SpartanHoops.com, I like to think I stayed objective this episode. I did my best to get a little help from Brad to maybe bring Mr. Franz Wagner back to Ann Arbor. There's my contribution for the Wolverine fans. And Spartan fans, we asked for Brad's top 5 players from opponent teams that he's played in his 5 years. And it's Spartan heavy is all I'll say. So hope you enjoy it. Give it a listen. We'll get right into Mr. Davison. And shoot us if you want specific players. If there's a team, if there's something you want from the Sleepers, folks, hit us up because it's off-season mode and we want to get creative.
Right. I'll do anything except eating pancakes again. No pancakes.
No pancakes. All right. Enjoy our interview with Brad Davison. We will be back next week.
Yes, sir.
Today's episode of the Sleepers Podcast with Brad Davison is sponsored by the Locker Room app. The Locker Room app is not like Wisconsin basketball. It is not slow. It is not boring. And there's a lot of talent on the app. Carter, tell us about Locker Room.
Man, I've been telling y'all about this goddamn app this whole time. And there are a couple people who came back to me and they're like, I have an Android. I live in the old days. I don't have an iPhone. It's Android ready now. There are no excuses. Everyone needs to go to the App Store, stop what you're doing, and for free. And I'm talking about free, not put your credit card info and get charged $10 that you don't even know because you don't cancel the free trial. I'm talking about free. And you can talk to Sleepers on this app. They had Kendrick Perkins on the app a couple days ago. I mean, I'm trying to think like who else. I mean, Bill Simmons, Kevin O'Connor. They're having all types of people on these apps. And you can just connect with other fans on this app. There's a large Michigan basketball following on the app. There's a large Michigan State following as well. It's just a great app to connect with, reporters, people in sports, personalities, and just fans of the game. It's dope and easy to use, and it's free. I really don't know what else you need, but go download the app. It's fire.
If you want to talk to basketball players like Brad Davison in person, the Locker Room app is where you do that, folks.
If you want to talk to a former Albion College basketball player, I be on the app. So come talk to me. If you want to be like, Greg, shut up, you shouldn't have said that. You can say it right when you hear it. You don't got to wait until the end of the pod episode, say it in the YouTube comments. You can just cut Greg off right then and be like, no, Franz isn't coming back.
Get the Locker Room app. Enjoy it. Enjoy the interview with Brad. First name basis with Brad Davison. Wow.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? All right, we got a great guest tonight on the Sleepers podcast. It's our first live, still playing college basketball player. I don't know if most people by now should have heard that news already, so I hope I didn't spoil anything here. But we've got Wisconsin Badger guard Brad Davison on the pod. Brad, thank you so much for being here, dude.
Excited to be a part of it. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
No doubt.
And shout out to everybody out there who decided to put a bet before Sleepers Media started and saying that our first current player will be a Wisconsin Badger. You can go ahead and cash that check. But, really excited to have you. And, pretty much I think anybody who watches college basketball knows who Brad Davison is. So, if you're not going to call yourself a big deal, we'll do that. But very happy to have you on.
Absolutely.
Thank
So
you.
let's get right into the big news of, I think it was last week, the announcement came out. You're returning to school for a 5th season. Huge news for all Badger fans and for all Big Ten fans. What went into that decision? I mean, did you know all along that you were going to take advantage of this extra COVID year?
Yeah, I'm very excited for the opportunity to play a 5th year and go back to Madison for one final run. I think as soon as the opportunity or the extra year of eligibility, that idea was passed or that rule was passed, it definitely, I was really intrigued by it because growing up, I never had any necessarily dreams or desires, or my goals weren't to play professionally. It was all to, I wanted to play in the Big Ten and I wanted to try to compete for conference championships. And so for me, it was kind of like another opportunity to live out my dream. But so I think as soon as the rule was established, I spent a lot of time thinking about it. And I had a lot of conversations with my coaches and my mentors and other individuals in my life. I decided I want to take 2 to 3 weeks after the season and just get away, time to reflect, reconnect with family and loved ones, and then make a decision. So really excited to have the opportunity to go back.
For sure. So, I know you see all the craziness that's going on with the transfer portal right now. There's names in there by the minute, by the day. Everybody's basically taking advantage of kind of this free kind of reign and free to go. Of course you played, the last 4 years in Madison and, you're a Badger and all, but, was there any type of just, enticing kind of fact, like just something pulling you into the transfer portal? Because some guys are really enjoying the whole just being recruited part thing again. So was the kind of the transfer portal filling up? Did that have any kind of effect on you at all?
Right. For me, I wanted to look at all options. I think for a typical player in my situation who graduates, finishes their undergrad as a senior, there's all sorts of different decisions they have to make on like a fork in the road of what they want to do with their life.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure I looked at all the options. But when it came down to the transfer portal, I just can't see myself playing anywhere else. Badger's kind of in my heart. It's been ingrained into me the last 4 years, and I've really enjoyed my time there in the city and my teammates and the coaching staff. So for me, it was never really an option to want to go anywhere else, just because I can't see myself, wearing any other jersey.
Yeah, you know what? I think we could probably put you in the category of players that it would honestly be kind of strange seeing you in another jersey. We'd be like it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and internally in my heart, I knew that I couldn't do it. And I don't really want to do it because I'm really thankful to be where I'm at, and I really enjoy it.
So let's talk more about where you're at. So looking back to last season, there were a couple other guys similar spots to you. You brought a ton of seniors back. Demetric Trice came back for a 5th season last season. A lot of, I would call it expectations. I think you were top 10 team preseason. I would say you backed that up for the most part, top 25 team throughout the year. I know, ups and downs a little bit, not necessarily competing for a conference title last season like you did the year before, but definitely in the race. Your season comes to an end to the Baylor Bears, the national champions. So I would call that a successful year, but compare, I guess, what you had last season, what that experience was like. Do you think that's going to be similar, be different with you coming back next year going forward with this Badgers roster?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a new look Badgers team next year. Whenever you graduate 6 seniors, we have a few guys that are testing the professional waters, a couple of guys transferring. It's definitely going to be a new look. We have a lot of new guys. They're going to get a lot more opportunity that, Badger fans and the rest of the Big Ten world hasn't really got the chance to see on the actual court, because they've been, on the practice court the last couple of years or last year. So it's going to be a new look, just filled with opportunity. But with that being said, we have a lot of really great young talent that, plays the right way, is about the right things, just really wants to win. So, from an upperclassman's perspective, that's had quite a bit of experience and played quite a few minutes over my last 4 years. I'm just really eager and excited to get the opportunity to play with those guys. And, some of my last experiences will be their first experiences, and just, try to guide them and lead them, and ultimately just, be a great teammate to them throughout that process.
Yeah, that's refreshing to hear, because I feel like, there's the other side of that you could take, is be like, okay, I just got done playing with a bunch of guys who have been here, know the ropes, know everything else. And then you got to be that old guy or older guy coming back and play with the younger guys who haven't been there. And that can kind of create, like a little bit of, there's going to be growing pains in college basketball, especially playing in the Big Ten. So it's something that I think you'll be able to kind of just be like, I've been there. You see, I've been there. So that'll be good.
Right.
That'll be good for them for sure.
Absolutely. And I you can look at it different ways, but personally, I'm wired a little differently, is I want to coach someday. So I kind of look at it as an opportunity to, play with new guys, develop new relationships, playing. Our system's going to change a little bit just because we have new pieces. And so I think that, change of scenery and just change of lineups and whatnot is a great opportunity for me personally, but also just to be a part of and for our program. So that's why I'm looking forward to it so much.
Are you saying that Coach Gard should be looking over his shoulder right now, or?
No, I'm not going to say that. He's got the job. That's his gig.
So you just said coaching, but you also talked about like evaluating all your options before you decided to come back to Wisconsin. As far as immediate next steps, obviously you've got next season in the Big Ten, but are you looking to play professionally? Are you looking to get right into coaching out of basketball, or what do you think the future holds for you?
I don't want to close any doors, but kind of like I said, I've never really had that goal or desire to play professionally, just because the aspects of basketball that I really enjoy is, being a part of a team and trying to win a championship and win as many games as you can, in the relationship building aspect of basketball, where, professionally, whether you're overseas or the G League or trying to work your way into NBA, from my perspective, I haven't played in it, but from what I've heard, it's much more individualized. It's trying to get a contract, trying to work your way up. And, those aren't really the aspects of basketball that I love and that I truly enjoy and find value in, which would be more catered towards the coaching aspect of things. But with that being said, a lot can change in a year. So I'm not closing the door on playing professionally, or whether it's going overseas or trying to work my way in the NBA. But, right now I don't really have those desires, and my heart is definitely with coaching.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like it's a business, right? Once you take that step and there's money involved, obviously there's not money involved at the college level, but the individualism and the selfishness of it's your career settles in. It's not necessarily the team. I guess one thing that I'm curious about, I know Jordan Bohannon, okay, he's coming back to Iowa. He's a guy that he's been around even longer than you've been around, I think, in Big Ten ball. Maybe the only guy in the country.
He's 2 whole years old. Everyone's saying that we're similar. He's 2 whole years older. I just turned 22, so I'm kind of a young buck still.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited he's coming back. That would be awesome.
So with him, I remember like watching the NCAA tournament with him and both Isaiah Livers, who was on the team that I'm rooting for. The Not NCAA Property movement comes out. And I believe Jordan mentioned something about he would return if the NCAA made some changes. I don't know if that ever got resolved or not, but was that something that you were ever a part of, or was that on your radar at all? And what are your thoughts on all of that?
No, not really. For me personally, growing up, like I kind of said, I never had the desire to play professionally, and never really had the desire to get paid playing basketball. I just always was super thankful and wanted to get to the level where I could play on the biggest stage in college basketball. And so for me, I see more, I want to take advantage of the platform that I've been given. And I don't really think about the money aspect of things. I'm more just, trying to take advantage of where I'm at and what we are given and the opportunities that are given in front of us. So for me personally, I was never really a part of that movement or any of those conversations. So yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, no, I'm just curious, like watching that play out was so interesting to me. And it's refreshing to hear your perspective and know there are people in the game that are just in it for the love of the game. So I gotta ask, and I don't know if Carter was gonna get to this at some point, but you probably expected this question. But there, like, just from your career, there's people who have perceived you as a villain, right? Or opposing fan bases see that, and you see a chippy, tough player. But then I talk to you on a Zoom call right now, and you're in it for the love of the game. You're like the nicest guy ever. Like, you're just a family man, a man of God. Like, how do you square that? Are you like, do you play into that role of a villain? Do you embrace and enjoy that? Or is that something that's sort of frustrating to be perceived as?
I'll be real with you guys. It was a learning curve for me. Coming in my freshman year, you have a certain reputation. You hold very true to, what you really care what people say about you, the opinions of others. And then, my freshman, sophomore year, I kind of got flipped upside down when, in the media and whatnot. So for me personally, it was a learning curve, but something that I've, over the course of my 4 years, feel like I've gotten a better mental grip on. It gets to the point where the opinions, I know where my identity lies. And like, as you said, I'm a man of faith. I'm defined by my Lord and Savior and what he says about me. And that's where my true identity lies. And the only opinions that I really care about are my teammates, my coaches, my family, and my friends. And so the opinions of, Michigan fans or any other fans in the Big Ten, or, whether it's opposing fan bases or the media, whatever it may be, for me personally, they're as relevant as I make them, and they have as much weight as I give them. So for me personally, I try not to feed into it. I don't try to embrace it. I try to be who I am. I know what my heart's intentions are. For me personally, I just try to go out there and do the best that I can to help my team win. And so that's play as hard as I can. And, people may spin things this way or that way, but, I just try to leave it all out there. And at the end of the day, know that I'm not defined by what other people say about me, but I'm defined, by truths and by the people that, are around me every day.
That's good to hear, because I literally was telling Greg earlier, I was like, as basically a non-Wisconsin fans, I feel like some Big Ten fans are somewhat conditioned just to not like you, and they don't even know you. They never talk to you, never do anything to you. I go to the Wisconsin roster, and I was just kind of looking up some things. I'm like, damn, like Brad's a great person. Look at Brad's on the honor roll. Brad's doing this. Brad's doing mission trips. He gets good grades. He's getting buckets. Like, it's just like, and then I'm talking to you now, and I'm just like, yeah, he's just like a dope person, But I think it's kind of the media. They'll push things if they really want to. If they got an agenda, they'll agenda it up for sure.
Oh yeah, they'll run with it. It
happens. All right, so
one of those things you can't control.
For sure. So you just mentioned obviously the other Big Ten fans, and everybody's going to hate on opposing players, but let's talk about what I think makes the Wisconsin program special, their fan base, and the Kohl Center home court advantage, man. What is going on at that Kohl Center? Obviously, COVID may have changed things for a year, but like, why can't people go into that arena and win games against you guys?
I think if you look at history, first and foremost, I know you guys might not admit it, but Wisconsin's had some really good teams over the years. So your home court advantage is always dictated, on how good your team is and how they play and whatnot. I don't know what it is. I mean, shout out to our fans. We love it. We sell out. It's pretty close. I think we lead the Big Ten in attendance most years. But we sell out. It gets loud. They're dedicated. They're very passionate. It's super fun to play in front of. So I don't know what it is. My girlfriend actually played at Indiana, and so she always says how cold the Kohl Center was, so that made it hard to play. So maybe that's the secret sauce, is our hockey team plays there too, so it gets super cold and throws people off. But man, I don't know what it is, but that might be the secret sauce.
Yeah, I have to say, I feel like you guys even had some leftover magic this year, because there wasn't any fans in the stands, but it's just the Kohl Center mystique or something. So.
Yeah, well, we let a few teams come in and beat us at home this year that hurt us, but hopefully we'll get another shot at them next year. Hopefully fans are back in the stands next year. I think everyone can agree on that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I got to bring this up, but man, Brad, y'all ruined I think it was Christmas. Y'all ruined my Christmas. Just so you know.
In East Lansing?
Yeah, like I woke up with my fiance's house, opened some gifts with my parents, my in-laws, feeling good. Got a nice little brunch going, sit down in front of the TV, and just had to watch our boys put it on state, man, at the Breslin too. I was like, damn.
That was the thing. College basketball on Christmas was going to make or break a lot of Christmases for a lot of people around the Midwest. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, so you just mentioned Wisconsin's had some good teams, whether we want to say it or not. And I'll be honest, we probably haven't said it very much as we should have. You've had great players in this program since you've been there, before you were there, and I'm sure going forward they'll continue to get guys in that do things the Badger way and win games. Who from your career has been the most fun person to play with?
Man, that's a really good question. There's been a lot of, it's like everyone's fun to play with in their own way. I think that the person that I'm going to say is you're not going to expect, you might not even know, but just because when I was a freshman, he was a senior on the team. His name was Aaron Maish. And he didn't play a whole lot. He's more known for Maish Madness. Him and his buddy Matt Ferris, they did like this thing during March Madness that went viral. But he didn't play a whole lot, but he was just kind of the senior that took me under his wing. And, when times got rough for the hills and valleys of a season, he was always there, and he's continued to be that, that constant support and voice throughout my 4 years, voice of reason that I need sometimes. So I'm going to give him the crown of being the most fun to play with. But you talk about guys like my freshman year, Ethan Happ, one of the big time greats. It's just fun watching him do what he did. For him to score so many points in his career and really all in the lane, and people knew what he was going to do, and he's still able to do it. It was
crazy
remarkable
footwork.
And unbelievable. Like, and you saw it in practice too. Like, what he's going to do. He's still going to score on you. And it was crazy. Then like Khalil Iverson, I guess remember Khalil Iverson from my freshman and sophomore year, just crazy athlete. So that was so much fun. I think, Carter, you might remember this. It was my Big Ten tournament 4 years ago. You guys beat us in the quarterfinals.
Mm-hmm.
But I threw him an alley-oop from half court, and he like caught it and went in reverse.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
And I still don't, to this day, like I threw a good pass. There was absolutely no reason for him to catch it and like cock it and go reverse.
he said, why not?
Some people can just do that. Me personally, you won't see me go above the net, but him, like that's fun. But fun for different reasons. Man, so I would say those two guys for sure from my younger days. And then, I'm going to get in trouble if I pick any of my guys from my senior class that just graduated. So I'm just going to leave it at that before I get in trouble.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, look, Maish Madness, if that was, great teammate impact on you, maybe March Bradness, maybe you become the senior next year for a couple young guys. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. I had to go there.
That's the goal. That's the goal. All right. You can never resist. Start it right there.
You can never resist a good name integration like that. That never can just go past you. You can never let it go.
I'm not gonna let it slip. I just can't do it. All right, I gotta flip it though. So while there's been great players at Wisconsin, you just named a ton. How about guys in the Big Ten? Because this has been a little bit of a golden era for Big Ten basketball, in my opinion. I mean, it's always been good. It's always the toughest, deepest conference in the country, in my opinion. But if you had to build, let's say, a starting five of guys that you've played against from your career, who would that be?
So nobody from Wisconsin.
Let's go nobody from Wisconsin just to make it fair here.
Okay, good. Keep me out of trouble again.
I got the counter going for if you're going to pick more Michigan or Michigan State guys, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I know. I got to filter what I got to remember who I'm talking to here. My point guard, Carter's going to like this, but you might not. It's going to be Cassius.
Let's go.
Fair. Very fair.
I only beat him one time. I think I played him 37 times. So I'll take Cassius at point guard. Two guards hard.
This is also a little look into early Brad Davison coaching strategy here. Is he going to go
That is true.
small?
Are we going like
there you go.
Are we going small ball? Like, where are we going right here? What we got?
Right. Well, the toughest defensive assignment, because I was kind of in a unique spot where I've played the 1 and the 2, but kind of guarded 1 through 3. Like the hardest player was Carson Edwards. And so I'm putting him at my 2 spot from Purdue. Like I thought I played a great defensive game. Like I left, we beat him and I left. I was like, I played great at the end of the day. And he had like 26. It was the most any player scored on me. And I thought I played so well, but he still had 26.
That dude just wired the score. Bro.
So like, Carson Edwards would be my 2 guard. Yeah. Cassius, Carson Edwards, then a wing.
You're 2 for 2 on my favorite Big Ten players from the last 5 years, by the way.
Really?
Not
There
even
we
from
go.
my team.
Good, good.
Killers.
I think the 3 spot's the hard one. Three spots hard. The 5-man. I feel like there's an obvious one I'm missing.
There's so I'm
There's
just like
so
trying to think
many.
to myself. There's so many good players that have played like over the past 4 years. It's like really
Right.
tough.
The 3, 4, and 5 makes it a little tougher. Man, if I have too many Michigan State players, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Does Garza make the starting 5?
Wow, put him on the spot, Cart.
I'm just trying to get the juices flowing.
I'm gonna put Jaren Jackson at the 4 spot.
I'm really liking this team.
Spartan fans gonna love this episode.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're gonna come away with a whole new respect for Brad Davison.
I thought you were gonna put Ben Carter there, but you know.
Jaren Jackson at the 4, just because he was only a freshman, but he was still dominant. It's hard not to put Luke on that list at the 5.
That'd be a nice pairing next to Jaren too. I mean, Jaren can cover
Oh.
up, shot blocking, all that for him.
Yeah. That's tough, fellas. But also my 5-man who, again, like statistically is not Luka Garza, but I thought was just was dominant when we played him was Bruno Fernando at Maryland.
That dude was a monster. He was for sure.
Like they were beating us at the Kohl Center my sophomore year, and he fouled out and just the whole game changed. It was like, oh, we can win now. He's not in the game. There hasn't been many players where you feel like that sometimes. But so Bruno and Luka are like my 5.5.
That's fair.
I'll allow it.
We'll allow that. We'll give you a 6, man. How about that?
We'll give me a 6-man. And then my 3-man. Well, who do you guys have for your 3-man?
Were you a freshman when Miles Bridges was there as a sophomore?
So again, this is who I'm thinking, but I can't have 3 state players.
I
mean, the thing is, Brad, you can.
That
can
team
do
was
it.
cold. I'll admit it. That team was cold.
So my last freshman year, my last game at Kohl Center, we played against them on our senior night, and it was probably one of my best games of my career. I played really well. My shoulder popped out, popped it back in, and played really well in the second half. And we cut it to it was Michigan State had to win it to win the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I remember this game so much, Michigan State had to win it to win the Big Ten. But if they lost, Ohio State won the Big Ten. And so Micah Potter, my teammate from this year, who's now my best friend, he always reminds me, he's like, you needed to hit one more 3 and I'd be a 2-time Big Ten champ. And so he always reminds me, but you look back at that, I always look back at that team like Cassius Winston, Miles Bridges, Josh Langford, McQuaid, Xavier Tillman, Nick Ward, Jaren Jackson, like
Killers.
Just loaded.
Oh man.
Loaded.
What could have been,
The NCAA tournament is just a beast, man. You can be the best team in the country and you're not prone to surviving madness when it strikes out of nowhere.
That's why we all love it.
Exactly. All right, I'll let that pass, even though there's about 4 or 5 maybe future NBA Michigan Wolverine wings.
Well, that's what I was going to say is my number 2 3-man, who I don't know if he's coming back next year. I hope he's not, would be Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be a stud.
Brad, I think
in the
I
NBA.
need you
so if he came back.
I need you to slide in Franz's DMs and just tell him all the benefits of coming back for one more year, man. Make the sales pitch.
No.
Come on, please.
That wouldn't benefit me as much. There's got to be some give and take in that exchange.
It could be a resume builder if you want to be an agent someday. If the coaching thing doesn't work out, there you go. You got your player's best interest.
I'll tell you right now, the whole Big Ten does not want Franz back. We don't.
Not the whole Big Ten. A small little piece.
Besides y'all, of course.
All right. Well, I love that top five. I'll respect it. So Cash, Carson Edwards, Miles Bridges, Luka Garza, Jaren Jackson, and Bruno Fernando is sixth man. I respect it. That's a good five.
Actually, and G, I do got to ask, I know we talked about it already, but Brad, can you talk about that game against Baylor a little bit? Because, I mean, as casual, I'm not casual, but as fans of the game watching Baylor, like playing against those guards seems like hell. Like Davion Mitchell's hands seem just absolutely crazy on defense. And even Jared Butler on defense is very good. Vital switching everything. What was it like playing that Baylor team?
Well, absolutely. I think one thing, obviously, defensively for us, you're playing against a team that has 3 All-American guards. And so I think the thing that makes them so tough is most teams, they have 2, maybe 3, like, defenders that can really, sit down, have experience, and somewhat contain them. But not a lot of teams that are, like, at this level has 3 guards on the floor at all times that can, really man-to-man, like sit down and contain them. But then what really killed us with Baylor was their 4-man off the bench, who then came in and they started just running the game through him. I'm trying to remember, the big white guy with the mullet. I don't remember his name, but he killed us. So like just the fact that they didn't run anything crazy, but offensively they just had so many guys that they don't really run plays. They just make plays. And they're big men, they go out there and they have no desire to score, but just to get an offensive rebound and then kick it back out to their guys that are going to go make more plays. So defensively, they're just so tough to guard because they have so many options. And it's disciplined, but it's not really structured. So you can't really scout it. It just comes down to, you got to stop them one-on-one from making plays. And when they're all shooting the ball at 40, 45% from 3, that's tough. And then, defensively, they just try to speed you up. They try to take you out of what you do offensively. And for us, at Wisconsin, we try to slow down the pace and play our tempo, which is why I think we were the most competitive game they had in the NCAA tournament because of that conflict of styles. But, not many teams, play like we do. So then they get to play other teams in the NCAA tournament, and you're just not going to be able to make the plays at the at the caliber that Baylor makes plays with how talented those guards were.
Yeah, teams could have definitely took notes from you because Gonzaga tried to run with Baylor and that ended badly.
Quickly.
Very quickly. Hey, lesser Big Ten programs have hung banners for smaller things than a 13-point loss against Baylor.
Don't do it.
There's a few that wanted to claim a couple championships this year.
Hey, 13, but we both know it was 5 to 8 the whole second half.
You're right. Man, I'm not gonna lie. Going into that game, I think Carter and I both picked North Carolina in the first game. We were surprised to see you guys make the second round, and we're both, we're little gamblers. We're not gonna lie, we're little gamblers, and I believe both of us had money on that not being a close game. So when it was cut to 5 in the second half, I'm texting Carter, freaking out, like, this man Brad Davison's really gonna do this to us again.
I was like, damn, I did not predict the Brad Davison 30 ball. And you were out there strumming the air guitar, like you were. How did that feel? I know that felt good.
Oh, that was awesome. It's one of those games where everything you put up, you just kind of have a feeling it's going to go in, and you get the confidence rolling, and the ball's in your hands, and you're just trying to do. It's one of those games where you kind of forget what's going on. You're just trying to win, and then you look up at the end and you realize that you have 29, 30 points. But that was awesome. Obviously for us, not having the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament the year before and having a really good year, winning the Big Ten, going to be a top seed. So it was a long time coming to get back to the NCAA tournament. So to get that win meant a lot for not only us as individuals, but the program.
For sure.
Yeah, redemption. I mean, I think a lot of teams, especially in East Lansing, Carter's team, Cassius Winston Senior Day, the last time you see that team play, feel a little robbed going into the NCAA tournament. So I think for you guys to be able to come back and sort of avenge that with a blowout win in the first round was honestly cool to see, even though I'm not a Badger fan at all. I give you guys credit. I'm honestly, I think I've made fun of the fact that there's always these seniors, Wisconsin, that's what they do. But man, I'm going to miss watching some of you guys next year. I mean, Reavers, Potter, like that was a tough front court, man. Demetric Trice, dude, I loved watching for all 5 years. So, I mean, that's going to be a team that I'm going to miss watching for sure and enjoyed for the last 4 years. So take that for what it's worth. But there's probably the nicest statement I've ever said about Wisconsin.
We'll take what we can get. It's hard to get support, from that state, Michigan State, all the time.
Hey, Brad, I'll let you know right now, speaking from the Michigan State fan base, we look at anything we can to take a little jab at Wisconsin every now and then. I mean, this past year, it was the fact that you guys were like one of the oldest teams in college basketball. Like that was
right.
That was kind of the thing, you guys take lots of naps, all the old jokes will fly
right,
out,
right.
that type of stuff,
That's what makes it fun, honestly. Like that's why another reason why I came back. Like I don't think it gets any better than college basketball, and that's why because of the support and the passion behind the support of all the fan bases, which is why personally I just really want fans to be back in the stands. Yes, because we have a great home court advantage at the Kohl Center, but also because of all the the love you get at at Breslin Center or at Michigan or going to Mackey. Like that's personally what I think it's all about. And so I think just having the opportunity to get those jabs and to hear the boos and everything that comes with the road game, like my hands are full and the fingers are crossed that we all get to experience that again this year.
Amen to that, man.
Basketball fans on the same page for that one for sure.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's refreshing to talk to someone on the player side who really, I think, loves the game as much as Carter and I do, just from a fan perspective. Like it's really dope, man. There's a lot of guys that you'll hear just kind of be there, and they're out to play, and they love the game of basketball, but they definitely don't love college basketball, and that's something that's awesome to see. And I have a new respect for you, no doubt, for just knowing that that's your mindset. So I gotta ask, last question for me. You're going on the senior 5th year final tour next year. Have you thought about doing any of the NBA retirement tour concepts? You gonna be doing jersey swaps or anything after the game?
The only thing I'll be doing is I'll be shaking the other coach's hand just to say, thank you for the competition and for the camaraderie, over the past 4 or 5 years, because I think it's been awesome. And because I think it's been awesome, just the interactions that we've had and the battles we've had, but also too, because of, also I want to get into coaching. So the networking and connections that will come from that. But no, you won't see me swapping jerseys or leaving shoes on it. I'm not doing any of that. I just play the game.
Always networking. I love that.
Yeah, I got to keep the mindset.
I love it. All right. Well, I wish you the best in your future, definitely next year with the Badgers, but even beyond that, whether that ends up in coaching, whether that ends up playing professionally, whether that ends up somewhere else, maybe the finance world, who knows where you end up. I wish you the best, my friend. Thank you so much for being here, Brad. It's going to be a pleasure watching you next year.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys. God bless.
Appreciate it, Brad.